Many people can design beautiful user interfaces, but not everybody can design properly. This happens all the time, and trust me, it happens even within large corporations. In today's video, I took a Figma design from the community resources, and I'll show you how to take this one to the next level. As you can see, it looks beautiful and I like the color scheme overall, but there are improvements that we can make to enhance accessibility, usability and the overall components. Just before we start, I wanted to mention that most of you who watch my videos are not subscribed. As you might know, creating those videos involves many hours of research, recording and editing, all done for free. If you could do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, it will help me to continue providing these educational videos at no cost. A larger subscriber base allows me to dedicate more time creating valuable content for you all. I've already marked with comments all the things that I've noticed, so there might be other details, but I think we got ourselves a good list of adjustments to make it ready on this design, so we will focus on this. So as you can see here, I marked the first one that the header needs to be responsive. At the moment, I notice it's built like this, right? So if I resize it, it will break. So that means the dots will remain on the right side, while the rest of the components will shrink down. So I don't think that's the proper way to build this, and we'll try to recreate it. I'm gonna drag it here on the side, maybe add a fill. Let's make this one as black. And first thing I notice here is that there is a bigger difference between this layout, between this component and this component. So both of them seem to be placed as absolute position, and that's the main reason why it does not maintain the responsiveness. To fix that, oh, and there's another thing that I wanted to mention. The tab size on this one is wrong. It's 24 by 24. Usually for the human interface guidelines, though, for iOS you'll have to make it around. I believe it's 44 or 48. We need to double check that, but it's definitely the smaller than it needs to be. This one is much closer to the actual requirements for tab size. So first things first, I'm gonna drag this on the side and this one on the side here, and copy these icons, gonna place it inside and remove the arrow, right? So now we have the frame that's the same size as this one, and let's keep the initial design and remove the background. So I'm gonna have no fill on this, and I have two icons here. I'm gonna move this one here on the side, and then the text, I want that to be right here in the middle. Maybe maybe we want this one to be set as auto width, so it keeps for now the size of the text. I'm gonna select all three elements and I'm gonna add them to an auto layout. Cool. So now we have our design. We can try to move it back inside here, and let's get rid of the other one, which is formed by this, and we can do just some final adjustments. So I want this one to fill the entire space, and maybe this one to fill the entire space as well. I can see we have the auto gap size between the elements. I think that's fine, but maybe we can actually ungroup this one, so we just keep everything within one single frame within top bar. So I'm gonna ungroup that. I think I ungrouped the wrong one. I should ungroup this. So we have an icon, we have another icon with the correct size, and we have the text that gets filled, right? We can test this one. You can see now it does shrink perfectly. If I set this one as scale, you'll see if I resize this window, it will also scale down with the window. So that's actually the correct way to build this component. Cool, so now that one we can mark it as fixed. Let's move to the next point. So this one doesn't support multiple tabs. So what I meant by that is that if I want to create another one, it will shrink everything down to the point where the text will not fit anymore. So you can see what I'm trying to say. To solve that, we can have a horizontal scroll, so the people will be able to scroll from one side to the other and see all the options that are placed there. That can be one way, or we can have the tabs to move to the next line. That's another way to do it. But for me personally, I feel like having the horizontal scroll will work just fine in this scenario. So for that, I'm gonna select all of them. I'm going to add a minimum width. So eventually we want, let's try something like 120 might be a bit too big, but maybe 80 I think it's also not great. So what I'm aiming for is for one of the tabs to move outside the screen. So that will tell the users that we have more elements outside the frame, so they can scroll. You can see here it's perfect outside. I'm gonna mark it as complete for now. And we need one more thing here. So make sure you don't have the clip content, otherwise the user should not be able to see your element. So in order for the prototype to be functional, you need to select your frame, move to the overflow and have the horizontal overflow selected on the prototype. So now that should give you this option so you can scroll horizontally. Cool. Let's move to the next point. This one means that the text, so we have the description and we have the body text that explains what this whole section is about. Well, in this case, it's a company description, and you can notice that there's not too much contrast. The hierarchy is not perfect on in this example, and the reason for that is the size is great. I'll not say anything about the size. I think it's fine, but I think we can work out on the color a little bit more. So because this is almost pure black and this is almost pure black, well, it's more like a grayish, but I'll go even a step further and make this even more grayer. So something like that I think will work. We can obviously have some tools to check the contrast and make sure it passes all the checkpoints. So I can have some kind of accessibility tool. I will probably leave something in the description of this video, so if you want to check to make sure the color that you choose is in good contrast with the background, you can do that. But for this example, I will go with a gray. Maybe I can even pick one that's already on the screen, so maybe I can pick this one up. And I think that gives a better hierarchy for the text, and give that kind of contrast to the background. I'm gonna mark that. Oh, and I think I had another point here actually. So the responsive text, right? What I mean by that is that if I resize this, it does not contain the text, so the text will still be outside the frame. To do that is quite simple. We can mark this one as fill, and we can give this one a fixed size of 3 to 7. Well, I just want to be everything aligned. So this one seems to be 3 to 7, and this is 3 to 7. I think that should be fine. I'm gonna mark this one as complete, and same thing here. You can mark this text as fill and have the same color. And then this can be as again 3 to 7. So now this is perfect. It's responsive. And I guess the last thing here I wanted to show you is how to make this card fully responsive. So if you want to prototype it quicker and test it on another device size, you can just drag and drop the card, and then you can resize this as you want. In this case, that's not done properly, it's just a rectangle. I would change this one and make it a auto layout frame. So let's try and do that. Gotta move this one to the side. So for this example, I'm probably gonna keep this one separate, and I'm going to keep this one maybe separate as well, and get everything else outside. I'm gonna keep that one as reference and make a copy. So let's think about this one. Is good because it's already now an auto layout, so I can resize it. Maybe this one should be set as fill. All those should be set as fill. I think that's a better example. And the rest, well, this one should be set as fill. This one should be set as fill. This one too. Right. So now it drops on the next line. If that's the case, but I don't think we'll have a device that small. So that one is already set as responsive. So the text is filled. And we can group this as well as this and have everything within another auto layout. So I can press on this plus and it's going to create that auto layout for us. I want everything to be centered, so in this case this one will be centered. Maybe we can make this one to fill the rest of the container. Fill, have it centered. Actually we can leave it as hug, that should be fine. Except if the roll is too long, that will maybe break your element, right? So I usually prefer to leave it as fill, because if it gets too long, it will drop in the next line. This, I think that's fine. We can leave it as hug. Maybe the rest can be as filled, right? Let's keep it as it is. To avoid that, so if I copy this, right, it goes outside. So to avoid that mistake in the future, we can set this as wrap. So if for some reason things might get longer, they will drop in the next line. This one I want it to be as fill, so it fills the entire container. And yeah, we have everything set up properly. We can just test and see if it works. I think we are missing something here. Those two frames needs to be set as fill container, and obviously it's getting broken, but now it works fine, right? So everything it's done properly. The text is resizing, it gets dropped on the next line. So now we can get also rid of this. How do we do that? Because everything within this frame is responsive and is set with the auto layout and filled container, we can simply add a fill color and add the required margins. So we can add here about 16 pixels. I'll try to guess, might be 16 or actually 32. We can check here on the columns. So you can see it has a margin of 24. So I'm talking about this margin. Maybe I can increase this one so you can see. I'm talking about this margin between the red bar and the borders of the frame. So that one was 24. I'm going to add it here, and maybe 24 at the top. And I think we might need actually a little bit more because we have this Netflix icon. So we need more space at the top. To do that, we can set a custom margin for the top bar. Let's say it's 64. And actually we need to round the corners here to about 32 to match what we have inside on that. That should be perfect. I can get rid of this, and I can probably get rid of this one. I'm going to leave that Netflix icon for reference, drag everything inside here and try to make it fit. I'm afraid there might be a bit too much margin at the top, but let's push it behind. So we have the Netflix icon on the front and see what we can adjust. I think we have too much roundness. Maybe that was about 24 again. And yeah, let's bring this one down. What's wrong there? Maybe we have too much space between the elements. Maybe it was about 16. I think that looks better in my opinion. Maybe we still have too much here. 32. I think that's 40. I'm just trying to do some guesswork. I think that's better. 24. Yeah, that's 24 margin gap between elements, as you can see here. So we set it here to 24. And yeah, last thing, we need to bring this back because it was placed here. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So I can mark this one as complete. And next time, let's say if you have a new prototype that you want to create, maybe this one is bigger, it's an iPhone 14 or 15 Pro Max, and you're gonna use this element, you can just simply resize it and maybe adjust the margin if you need to. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you found it useful. If you did, please remember to subscribe, like this video, and let me know in the comments what would you like to see into the next one.